All right.
Friday.
Back live.
Oh, yeah.
In the old pizzle.
Port St. Lucie, baby. I look a little dark today.
Yeah. It's cold in Florida today.
It is. I woke up. So for anyone who's not in Florida, which I'm guessing a lot of you are, we woke up today and it was 46. That's amazing.
That is not Celsius.
No, that would be Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit?
Oh my God.
I think you're looking for a fight today. You've been kind of feisty.
Feisty Friday.
Feisty Friday. Welcome to Motiv8 You, ladies and gentlemen. This is our show, our podcast to help advisors just like you, entrepreneurs just like you, take your business to the next level. Level up is really the ultimate goal.
I like it. Elevate you. Elevate yourself. Elevate your knowledge, your business, a whole lot of everything. So, you kind of mentioned this is for other entrepreneurs. My husband was actually listening to the podcast, I think, just to be a good husband. And
not to make fun of us?
No, not to make fun of us, to be nice. And he said, he's in a totally different field. And he said, I got really good information out of it because it didn't necessarily just have to do with the financial world.
Right.
He said, a lot of the stuff you covered, you can put into really any type of industry, any type of business that you're working in or on or own or, looking to get into. So I thought that was a wonderful compliment.
It is a great comment. And, I was out in Dallas last week. That's where we did the podcast actually from, but I was out there for a business building meeting where I sit with other entrepreneurs and other business owners from every walk of life. And we have pharmacists, we have ball bearing and sprocket individuals, car dealer salespeople that own car dealerships. We've got manufacturers, veterinarians. It's totally different than the ones that deal with dogs and stuff. These are veterinarians.
Right. It's a very specific field.
It's a specific field of the veterinarian world.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, all sorts of different type of people. And what you'll find out though, is that no matter where people are coming from within their lives or what type of business they're in, there's so many similarities and so many characteristics that kind of share that you can see kind of overlap between different businesses. And it's important to look at it. And a lot of it comes down to what I believe is going to be, I wonder if our audio settings look pretty good. I think a lot of it comes down to really being about value. What do you bring to the table? And then really understanding kind of what you want to deal with. And the reason why I think this is important, we had a great advisor in last week, new advisor that's old, but new.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've known him for a long time. He's on our platform now. Great guy.
Younger gentleman
came in and we started looking at some goals, and it was really interesting. He set up some goals, and honestly, after looking at his goals and reviewing his goals, there was nothing wrong with his goals.
No, not at all. But we feel that he set his bar extremely low for the potential that we feel he has.
Right.
And that kind of got us into a conversation of self-limiting beliefs.
Well, and I have a really you and I are not good at hiding emotions. And so
no.
He shows me his goals and he was really excited about the goals. And he looked at me and he's like, what's wrong? And I said, this is your goal. This is what you want to do. He's like, yeah. I said, okay. So you're comfortable making this amount of money? He's like, yeah. I said, okay. And I just kind of sat like that. And I must have been pretty obvious because you weren't in the room at the time. You were at your own office. And he looked at me, he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I just think you're selling yourself short. And, I talked to my son about this a lot last night. My son is a soccer player.
Right.
And he sets up specific goals and he's gotten really, really good at them. And it's something that he has to want to do. Right. And I've learned that because I've learned that no matter how much coaching I can do for him or for entrepreneurs across the country, they have to also want to do it. And what
most importantly, they have to want to do it and actually do it.
Without a doubt. I mean, I asked my son, I said, all those times that I was on the sidelines and I was cheering for you and all those times that I was trying to help you do something a little bit better. And did that really help you? And he turned to me one day, he said, Dad, no.
Nope.
And I said, what? He goes, we're trained to not listen to you on the sidelines.
It's very true. I was as well.
And I said, yeah, because you were a stud at soccer player, which is cool. But I said, so you didn't listen to anything I said? He goes, no. He goes, I haven't listened to anything. I said, well, what was the biggest change? And it was the coolest thing he's ever said. He said, I wanted it.
He made that decision for himself.
It was an awesome decision. And that no matter what I wanted for him, all the cool things I wanted for my son, he had to also want it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's all for naught. It's the same thing with being a business owner. So as I was looking at this individual, I sat back and I said, well, I mean, if this is what you want, that's cool. And so then we started talking about what he really wanted and why he really wanted it. Because I think all of us entrepreneurs, all of us business owners have a why. And there's a great video out there. If you've never watched it, Simon Sinek does a TED
I
Talk.
was totally going to bring that up because I watched it again this week. And I think we should kind of, after you're done with your story, talk about that.
Yeah, because it's a fantastic video. You should watch. It's YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah. Simon Sinek, your why, discovering your why, I think
Something
it
like
is.
that. Yeah. And every time I look at it or watch it, I learn something new, or I
Yes.
see something different, or I remember something I've kind of let go.
Yeah.
Right.
Most definitely.
So as I was talking to this advisor, I said, well, why do you want to do this? I mean, he's got a wife, he's got 3 children. There's a lot of goals that he has. And he said, well, I thought that this was the right stepping stone. This is the right number for a 5-year goal. And I said, okay. I said, but what if you could do this in 1 year? I mean, what if you could take the 5 years and do it in 1? And it reminded me of a story. When I first got in this industry, I came from the financial services industry and the mortgage side, right? In the mortgage industry, it wasn't very common to see people doing like $1 million of business per month, right?
Okay.
Bringing in $1 million of premium or mortgages per month. And that would get you a pretty dang good lifestyle if you're able to do $1 million. But it wasn't, there was people that did more than me, but there's definitely a lot of people who did less than me at the time. But for me, the barometer was always $1 million per month. If I could do $1 million per month, I was living pretty darn good.
And that was just kind of a number you put in your own head. It sounded sexy. You wanted to do $1 million. You feel like that's succeeding.
Yeah. And it put me in the top tier of our firm that I was working with.
Gotcha.
And so that number was the number that I looked at as a normal barometer, a metric, if you will, to see kind of what I wanted to be doing. And so then I moved over to the financial services industry. And I remember speaking to someone once and I was saying, well, what type of numbers should I be doing? I mean, I should probably be doing about $1 million a month, right? And I was talking to them more specifically about like a fixed annuity or something of that nature. And they laughed at me.
That's not cool.
Oh, I'm used to it.
I mean, I laugh at you daily, but I'm your friend.
I've grown up with people making fun of me my whole life. So I'm okay with it. But they laughed at me and it wasn't a malicious laugh. It was like, yeah, do $1 million a month. That would be great. First year in the business. Sure. $1 million.
There you go. Great. Big shooter.
Yeah. And they kind of blew me off. Well, the craziest thing is I didn't know that was a bigger number at the time. For first year in the industry, I didn't realize that was a pretty tall tale. And I didn't hit that number the first year, but I wasn't far from that number the first year.
Right.
And I was a much happier person after that first year. And then the next year I grew. The next year I grew, kept growing faster and faster and faster. And the reality of it is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And what I didn't know was that those were hard things to do. I thought they were expected things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mindset was such that I needed to go out and find ways to make this happen, not find ways to not make it happen.
Or to avoid making it happen. Excuse-itis almost.
Well, think of how many times you talk to advisors and how many of the advisors that you come across know their numbers.
Not as many as I would like.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk to business owners in general, watch The Profit with Marco Simonis, watch, have calls like you have with advisors every single week, or talk to different business owners across the board. Most people that have an entrepreneurial spirit do not have the ability to know where the numbers are on a consistent basis, because that's not where their strengths really lie.
Yeah, they found their passion, whether it's creating something, servicing something, taking care of individuals. That's what they focus on. That's their craft. That's what they know. But you also need to have that business acumen if you're going to be a business owner.
But they use their gift, whatever that is, whether it's a gift of gab, whatever it is, to try to build a business plan built upon hope. Right. And then oftentimes they think, I would love to hit this number, but I'm not going to actually even put that out there because I don't want to fail.
It's scary to do that. It's scary to fail. And I think a lot of people don't share their goals either, whether because they don't want to let somebody down or they don't want to be embarrassed by it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a goal is just that. It's a goal. It doesn't mean that it's going to be achieved every single time.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people out there saying, well, set realistic goals, right? And I struggle with that word, because to set realistic goals, well, then you basically know you're going to hit it. if it's realistic, right? I mean, I get it what they're trying to say, but to me, I like the big, hairy, audacious goals, the BHAGs out there of saying, okay, you know what, this year I'm going to make this much money. And even if you hit 70% of it, more than likely, if it's a BHAG, life has changed for you.
Yeah, you're not going to be upset.
What it comes down to, though, don't you agree with me on this? That it comes down to, like you said earlier, the self-limiting beliefs.
It does. Well, and I mean, even when you're talking about your BHAGs and you want to have BHAGs, it always sounds bad. But maybe you have benchmarks in between. So maybe this is your BHAG for the year, but you have certain benchmarks that you want to reach throughout each quarter. And those are your realistic goals. So you might have this huge number and know that, okay, what I need to do to get there is this much per quarter. Maybe that realistic goal doesn't seem as scary because you're breaking it up in pieces rather than looking at that ultimate number that you're terrified you're not going to hit. But if you do, you're elated.
Yeah. And the reality is you're never going to have things be exactly the way you planned either, right?
No, we all know that, especially this year.
I mean, that's nailed
that's
it.
An understatement.
This year has been brutal. It just keeps giving too, man. We're only a couple weeks from the year being over. And it's like it's in hyperdrive right now.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to someone yesterday and I said, this is the fastest, slowest year ever. Like it's been taking forever to get to 2021, but I can't believe that it's, Christmas next week. That just sounds insane to say out loud.
Yeah. Because it's hard to be happy this year. And Christmas is a happy time.
It's just hard. It has been very hard. But, it's so cheesy and it's so cliche, but I hope people have been able to maybe take 2 steps back and realize the things that they're grateful for on a day-to-day basis.
I'm sorry, I just went full-fledged Paula Abdul.
Why?
2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back.
What's the rest of that song? I don't remember.
We come together because opposites attract.
Oh, yeah.
Not just me?
Yeah, that's you. It just took me a second.
Yeah, it happens once in a while.
I digress.
And I apologize for everybody as everyone clicks off the podcast. It happens, folks. It's just part of being growing up in the 80s and 90s like I did. Paula Abdul still just has a place
with the dancing cat.
Yeah,
was
that's
that
right.
Was that the right video? The same one,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was a cartoon. That was like the first time they kind of mixed it together.
Huh. Interesting. So yeah, it comes down to the value of what you're doing, right? So I didn't know, kind of going back to my story, I didn't know what I didn't know. And because I didn't know, I was succeeding at higher levels than I probably should have been than if I would have known.
It's almost like your own glass ceiling.
Right, which is dangerous because right now, what I've learned, especially during COVID or any time of chaos, there's incredible amounts of opportunity. And if you look around, if you look at the economy right now, there are the haves and have-nots really within the industries.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is it's a matter of understanding what value you bring to the world and then making sure people know about you. If they don't know about you, then it doesn't matter how much value that you have. But what I mean by this, I've watched companies out there, take Zoom, for example, right? Where we record this podcast on Zoom's one of our platforms because we're able to put it all over the place, right?
Right.
Zoom has had one heck of a year.
Oh yeah, their stock has gone through the roof.
Oh yeah, Join Me, GoToMeeting, all those different companies that have these digital platforms that allow people to work from home. It's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing. Their stock has been awesome. And then you look at other companies that are reliant on people being out and doing different things, and they're getting crushed. Airlines,
right?
Airlines get cruises,
lines. Yeah.
I mean, when's the next cruise ship that you're going to jump on, right? So the reason why I talk about this is it's right now, people are looking for you. People are looking for your value. But the biggest question is, how much do you value yourself? Okay. So what was really interesting is this gentleman went home after we had the conversation and he called Cassie and said, man, I'm upset. Mike ticked me off. Well, you can tell a story. You're the one that was on the phone.
Yeah. He was like, I'm kind of annoyed. I'm a little upset at Mike. And I said, really? Why? I thought, you came down, we had a great training. He's like, oh no, we did. But we had that conversation about the goal and it kind of upset me a little bit. And I'm thinking like, he's mad at you.
Right. So you did tell me he was mad at me.
No, I did not.
You did too. You basically said, yeah, you ticked him off.
So I pushed a little bit more. I was like, well, why would you be mad at him? What happened? And essentially, in a roundabout way, he thought you were disappointed in him because of his goal.
Oh, the dreaded disappointment.
I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed.
I'm not mad, son, that you lied to me. I'm just
Yes.
disappointed.
Yes. And I said it's not a matter of being disappointed. Your goal is your goal. Our
Right.
job is to help you succeed. However, the main point of that conversation was to try to get you to see the amount of value we see in you, and how can we have you implement that into your business, that you're shortchanging yourself. We feel that you can do so much more than this. And that's where the frustration came from.
Yeah. I mean, well, and it's the intent versus expectations
Yes.
conversation, right? So it's a situation to where if his intent is to do that goal, the initial goal that he was talking about, that's okay.
Sure.
That's completely fine. And then we know where we fit in as his support organization and an extension of his firm to help support him the best.
Yeah. And to get him there.
We know what our expectations are. The problem is that we know that he's capable of more. And just like that old movie, The Bronx Tale,
yes,
there's nothing worse than wasted talent.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. It's such a great
like that
quote.
one.
I really, really,
it's
really
a great
do.
movie. And then they do, the girlfriend test too. You know that one, right?
With the door.
With the door. Yes. You
Yeah.
got to lean over and unlock the door, which you can't really do nowadays because everything's automatic lock. So I guess you have to get crafty and find out a new way how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, they hand you your cell phone charger if you need it.
There you go. Or it could be like The Wedding Singer, where he wouldn't give her the window.
Oh, yeah.
Remember she wanted to see Vegas the first time?
Yep.
Anyway, enough about weird scenarios.
Random.
Anyway, but it's true. It's about, you don't want to waste the talent. So it's hard being on the side that you and I are on when we see advisors that can be so good and the population needs them to be good.
Yes.
Because they're such good people and they need to be out there in front of people that are retired because they need to find a good, ethical, holistic in nature type of advisor. But sometimes those are the hardest ones to find because they're quiet, they're independent, they're small, right? So anyway, going through this with him though, what I did was I challenged him, and I didn't challenge him based upon total dollars and cents. And what I mean by that is it wasn't saying, well, don't you want to make X? What I basically did is I broke down his hours.
Right.
I broke down his hourly wages of what he could make at 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. Okay. Not including any vacations.
Okay.
And basically said, if you have that goal, this is the amount of money that you're going to have. And then I divided that by the hours. And I said, this is what you're getting paid per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Are you comfortable with that? And it wasn't a bad number.
Yeah.
But then I said, if that's the number you're going to be getting paid per hour, then you also have to sit back and start putting value on those hours.
Mm-hmm. And that dollar amount.
And is it worth it?
Right.
Is it worth it? Are you willing to work at that dollar amount? Are you willing to miss your 3 kids' soccer games as they get older for that dollar amount? What is your hour worth to you? And I think for him, that was a really big wake-up call.
Maybe it was a numerical thing that kind of, some people, when they're talking about it and when they're talking about goals, it can be hard because it's a finite thing. It's not something tangible, but especially when you're talking with advisors and you start talking dollars and percents, maybe looking at that real life number, it sunk in a little bit more that maybe he was shortchanging himself.
Well, you connected the emotion with the mathematics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very much so.
I tell people that I believe that money is one of the most emotional things out there. It's one of the biggest causes of divorce in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with people making emotional decisions as long as they understand the mathematics behind it.
Right.
So this individual had a goal he just kind of pulled out of the air more than likely. Seemed like a reasonable goal. Mm-hmm. But when you connected the goal with the why, so when you took the math with the why, and he understood that it probably wasn't helping him achieve his why as fast as he wanted to, and it probably wasn't pushing him.
No, not at all.
He was probably kind of coasting through that time period. It made him wake up. Now, on the flip side, right before you and I came to do this podcast, we spoke with Chris. And Chris is one of our relationship advisors here at Motiv8 Advisors. Absolutely fantastic guy. And he had a rough day today.
He did.
Right?
He needed a hug.
He did. And he had a rough day, not because of anything he did wrong. He talked to an advisor that was the complete opposite of what we just discussed.
Right.
And it was an advisor who's looking for help. Looking for love in all the wrong places.
Okay, keep going. That one's not as good.
No? Go back to Paul Abdul?
Yeah.
Okay. I went with it. Anyway, he was looking for help. So Chris asked him the question, what are 3 things you want to achieve within your business and what's holding you back? Like what's important about your business to you? And the guy says, I know what you're doing.
Okay. What was he doing?
I know what you're doing. You're trying to find out what's important to me. And I've heard all this crap before. And so I don't need it. And I just want to know if you guys are smarter than me or if you can help me grow my business.
Wow. So he was upset that someone was actually caring what he wanted and
Mhm.
what he was concerned about?
Exactly. Because
Huh.
the reality of it is what happens when you do that. Okay. When you connect the why with the mathematics, which is probably what someone may have done in the past for him, and he didn't hit those goals,
Yeah.
he realized that either his why wasn't that important or he wasn't as committed to it as he thought he was. And he may have let himself down and the why, whatever that
Mhm.
why is, whether that why is his family, his wife, his kids, whatever it was. More than likely, what he found out is it was his fault that it didn't get achieved. Right. And so when Chris asks him this question of why is this such an important deal for you? What do you want to accomplish? That hits a sore spot because
Mhm.
what happens oftentimes is when you put that intent out there, then you will set your own expectations too. It's not just the expectations that you, myself, all of our business development people here at Motiv8. It's not just our expectations, it's their own expectations. And it became real.
Mhm.
Right. So it can go either way.
Yeah.
Right. When you look at the first individual we spoke about, he looked at this and went, huh.
Huh. A little fire under his booty.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna call it his booty, but
Probably not. I think I'm the only one who says that, but that's okay.
thank God you're the only one that says that. Little fire underneath his
His
booty.
booty.
You could say like a pirate too if you wanted to. Dar, it gets a little
It's his
fire in his booty. Anyway, God, we are not smart.
No,
This sounds terrible.
we're off today.
Yeah,
That's okay. It's
it is.
entertaining.
It is what it is. But no, I mean, it's really that he looked at it, went, I want something bigger. His
Mhm.
why connected it, and he realized he was short sheeting or short changing, like you say, the why.
Right.
The other individual got upset because he felt like it was almost like us. We don't even know the guy.
Mm-mm.
Like this is the first time we've ever spoken to this individual in our office, and he felt like we were calling him out on his own inability to give his why the attention or help it deserves.
Or unfortunately, if someone has asked him these questions, they did not do it in a genuine fashion. And
That's actually
he
a really
was,
good angle.
he was let down in some way or another. So if he feels, maybe he was more vulnerable, he opened up to somebody, he discussed these concerns, his goals, and that person did not participate in his success or attempt to.
So they used it as a way in from an almost like a manipulative standpoint.
Right. And was not genuine. Whereas when we have these conversations, it comes from a genuine place, because we really do care. What is your why? And it goes back to, we were talking about Simon Sinek and then his TED Talk that he did. And the TED Talk is really based around getting your messaging out. It can be applied to marketing, but I think finding your why in life is super important too. And then being able to figure out, so let's say your why is in the financial services industry. So what it says is a lot of people, when they market, they do what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. And that's actually the wrong way to go about it. You want to flip that on its head. Why do you do something? Why do you have this passion for it? How do you do it? And then what do you do? Because people don't buy products, people buy feelings and emotions. And that's really what the whole entire TED Talk goes into.
Preach, sister. You're nailing it. I couldn't.
So
wow.
you couldn't go fast enough.
No, that was good.
So maybe he's been
practice
sold.
that?
No, maybe he's been sold his what and his how, and the why was not addressed, and he's upset about that.
Or even
and we
worse,
just got the brunt end of it.
Well, and I think where you're also going with it, that was brilliant, by the way. I think we should record that or take that off as a clip and use
it is recorded. We're on a podcast, but just saying.
But they can also you can also use the why as a manipulative source. And you're right. Maybe it's a situation where they went after the why and then they didn't do their part.
Right.
And so the expectations, it got emotional, it became very real. And then he failed the why because the fact that the team that was with him didn't pull their part.
Right.
And he's been burnt before. Oh,
right.
This is like almost like a Dr. Phil
You know,
podcast right now.
you never know when you meet somebody and, like I see the little memes and stuff is you never know what someone else is going through during their day. Someone might bump into you into the street and they're really grumpy and aggressive. And you're like, wow, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but you have no idea. Maybe their dog died that day. Maybe, a spouse got in a car accident, God forbid. Like you don't know where other people are coming from or what they've been through. And I think that's why we always try to keep a really open mind and start with that emotional place so we can learn who someone is, before we start diving in
No,
and
you're right.
asking about money or numbers or this or that.
But that's even the reason. So that's even more the reason why we ask what's important about their business to them.
Of course.
Because we do need to know all those different things.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's what was hard for Chris is that Chris comes from a place of pure
genuine.
Oh, he's just the greatest guy. I mean, literally just the greatest guy. He truly wants to help people take their business to the next level.
Yep.
He wants nothing more than to hear about your success. And he understands what we do here at Motiv8, it works.
Mm-hmm.
He understands that how we support our advisors, it works. He understands that when you're looking for marketing strategies that you want to get in front of people, it works. If you're looking for close strategies, it works. And when you have a passion for something like that, when you know it works and someone just kind of gets upset because what they've done in the past hasn't worked,
mm-hmm.
it's hard to be judged by the things that haven't worked.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
And you take that a little personally that, whether or not the guy meant it, but, you take it almost as a personal attack. That's what happens when you care, unfortunately.
Well, it's kind of like when we were out in Dallas, we met a great guy out in Dallas and, we asked him the question, we were very transparent, very point blank. How many organizations have you been with?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say? 10?
10. Yeah.
So he's been with 10 organizations. I said, well, how much has changed about your business? Has it gotten any better? And he said,
nope.
No, not at all.
Nope.
So at some point, I have to believe that there's some good organizations out there.
Of course there are.
Out of the 10, he's probably been with a couple good ones, right?
Most definitely.
So at some point, it's a matter of having a real adult conversation, a real honest conversation of something's missing within that, right? Something's missing or you wouldn't keep doing it. Like when I started this industry, my why was because my water was shut off.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a baby that needed formula and I couldn't feed my own damn kid. So that was a pretty obvious why at the time. It was a survival why.
Mm-hmm.
Now your whys can change over time, right?
They should change over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a situation to where mine was very cut and dry. It was a survival why. And then eventually I remember one day sitting back and saying, okay, now that I've survived, now what's the next step?
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the next step? And then what's the next step? And you build upon that. If you've gone from organization to organization to organization, nothing's really changed. One of the two things has happened. You're not changing the way you need to, or your problems and your why and your business model are not being addressed the way they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah. That they just haven't been laid out in front of you or really discussed and the steps taken that need to get there. And it doesn't matter what business you're in, there's progression that needs to be done. It's awesome if you can start, you hit the ground running, you're a huge success, but eventually you start to hit that S curve and you have to figure out what do I need to not only maintain and stay stable, but
S curve, ladies and gentlemen, she whipped out S curve.
S curve. But
sorry, that was good.
Get me to that's like my second applause today. I'll take it.
I know you're killing it.
But yeah,
the studio audience loves your stuff.
I heard something on the radio and it was for a commercial, but I kind of liked it. It was a little catchy. It said, it's not time to bounce back. It's time to bounce forward. And I was like, you know what? I kind of like that because bouncing back is just going to get you to the same place that you were before all of this craziness started. And I think I want to say that to our advisors and everybody meet. It's not time to bounce back to where we were. It's time to bounce forward. It's time to exceed that. It's not a middle place that we're stopping at. Everyone had a crazy year. Everyone had a crappy year. It's time to move past that point where we were.
Everyone's had a crazy year. Everyone's had a crappy year. Couldn't have said it better. And there's still people out there thriving, right? So why are they thriving and you're not? Why are you thriving and they're not?
Yeah.
Right. What is it that's the common denominator, if you will, within that? And it's the work ethic, it's the grind, and it all comes back down to that why. And I mean, I feel so strongly about this because luck doesn't happen. As my father always said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Right. Yeah. So luck isn't a situation to where you just wake up and you're a lucky person. I just don't believe in that. I believe you put yourself in lucky positions
Mm-hmm.
by working hard and doing those different things. And you work hard because something's the fire inside you, something that you're looking to make happen is inside you.
Right. It's your drive for whatever reason it is. And everyone's going to have a totally different reason. Everyone has a totally different why. And they should. That's what makes everyone unique.
So here's what I would recommend for people.
Tell me.
While you're listening to this podcast or later when you're not listening to this podcast, whatever you want to do, I want you to sit down and I want you just to write down something about what you really, 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 and this is coming from one of my friends named Dave LaRue. What do you really, really want? What do you really, really want? And then I want you to do two different versions. I want you to do version A, what do you want personally? And then B, what do you want professionally? Like, what do you want? And it's okay, but we got to get past the need.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get to the desired aspect. What do you want personally? Is it more time with your family? Is it a boat?
Yeah. Is it a vacation? Ooh, when we can again.
What's that?
When we can go on vacation again.
Yeah, I know, right? But is it a vacation? Is it 5 vacations a year?
Is it to hire someone?
Is it to get some support?
Have an office?
Is it to make $1 million? What do you want? Okay. And then go business wise. What do you want there? Same idea. What do you want business wise? What do you want for you? Is it more free time? Is it more efficiency? Is it to close more people? Is it to have more SKUs or more revenue strategies within one sales process? What is it? And get that down on paper and then look at it. And the next question is why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want those things? Why do you want to make $1 million? I mean, who wouldn't, right? Like, who wouldn't?
And yeah, I mean, you have to not be generic about it. Right. I want $1 million so I can pay my bills. Well, everyone wants to pay their bills.
Yeah, no one wants to go broke.
Right.
So why do you want the million? Why is the million the number? Why is it not 3 million?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not 30 million? Is that your own self-limiting belief? Is that something that's putting you in a position where you're scared to admit that you want $10 million? What is it? And why do you want it? Same thing with your business. Go through it. Why do you want that for your business? Because I always tell people my business, it's more of a passion, more of a mission than a job. The Terrio Group, I'm fortunately not in a position right now where I could be done.
Mm-hmm.
But I love helping people. I love being involved with people. I had a client in here today that sat back and said, I don't know what I would do without you guys and your team. He just lost his spouse last week while I was out of town in Dallas.
Yep.
I was invited to their 20-year wedding anniversary. These people I've been close to for a long period of time. And unfortunately, the other C word, the cancer word, took him away from us. And we provided him. And I told you this at lunch today. It's one of the best things and the worst things. And it sounds weird saying this, but it's one of the best and worst times in my business is when I lose a client.
A rewarding time, which sounds weird when you're talking about someone passing. Yeah, because
I hate, and I'm so sad when I lose my clients.
Of course.
But I love the fact that the stuff I told them would happen happens. And in this situation, we're even outperforming what we told them would happen.
Or you just get to be a factor in their life that they are not stressed out over, and they feel comfortable and they know that their whole entire life is turned upside down. But this part that you have been in control of or helping them with, they're okay. They're good to go.
It was something I wasn't able to do for my mom at the time when my father passed because I didn't know it.
Right.
I didn't know what I know now. Right. Yeah. And I wasn't in this industry and I wasn't helping people. So that's really where my mission came from. I love the Terrio Group. I love my firm and what I can do with it. I love teaching within Motiv8 how to do what we do and how to change people's lives. I want to create a group, a really strong group of people that can go out and help people never end up like my mom.
Right.
Right. So that's my mission. That's really my why. I promise you, if you look into your world, folks, you probably have something like that. And once you figure that out, then you'll start seeing that more than likely what's been happening is you're putting limitations on yourself that don't need to be there
unnecessarily.
And it's kind of sad when you think about it, because we as human beings waste time. Remember, I'm not claiming that I was the smartest guy in the world. Part of the reason why I was so successful is because I wasn't that smart.
Yeah, you just didn't know the difference.
Right. Part of the reason why I crushed it was because I didn't know that it wasn't supposed to happen. I just did it.
Yep.
Right. Because I knew I was very, very aligned and living congruently with my why. Did you hear that one?
Congruently.
You like that?
You struggled a little bit with it, but you got it.
No, I just really wanted to stress it.
Gotcha.
Congruently. but I really did. I mean, I was so focused on knowing that I made promises to my spouse. I made promises to my kid. I made promises to myself.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going to be like this again. I was not going to allow myself to be in a position where things were that bad again. And so those were promises I made to myself. That's what gets me out of bed.
Yeah.
Even today, that's what gets me out of bed. That has me get out of bed in the middle of the night sometimes to work on things. That's my driving source. That's my
why
fuel, if you will, my why.
Mm-hmm.
So think about this, go down, sit down and think about it, write it down, say, why do you want this? Business wise, personal, and what is it that you really, really, really want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me when clients come into my office and they probably go into your office. I say, hey, Cassie, what's important about money to you? And the first thing they say is what? I don't want to run out of it.
I don't want to run out. Well, nobody does. We know that. That's a general across the board.
I don't want to pay taxes.
I want to make as much as I can and not pay a bunch in fees.
Yeah, I mean,
all of you get that. We know all of you get that on a regular basis.
And so when we talk to you about your business building, I want to grow my business. Well, no kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were calling me so you could fail faster. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
We all want to grow your business, but why? And I know it sounds simplistic. I know maybe it sounds new agey, but it's true. You have to be very, very, very clear on the path that you're trying to get to and why you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not, you're living your world based upon hope, and hope cannot be your business plan. No. Hope any more than hope can be your financial plan for your clients. You cannot hope and just hope that it's gonna be the best. Yeah. So now here's the good news.
Tell me.
Dashboard. We've got it.
We do.
So once you've designed your why and you know what you want to do, call us. Mm-hmm. We'll help you with the why. If you want to, call us, and then we'll go through a dashboard with you, because when you're going through the marketing dashboard, it allows you to see how quickly that why can come to maturity.
Yeah. Well, and I almost want to change it. So we call it a marketing dashboard, but the marketing side of it, it is very, very important, but it's only one section of it. This whole conversation was started with business owners knowing their numbers. And at in essence, it's starting with your why, it's starting with your goals, and then knowing your numbers and putting it together. Obviously, right now is an ideal time to do it. We are, weeks away from 2021. And I don't want anyone to think of their why as a New Year's resolution. I think it's really easy for people to set New Year's resolutions and then have the anticipation that it's not going to happen anyways. So, do this on a personal level. If you want to share it with a spouse or a friend, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, maybe write it down, put it in your pocket, put it in your notebook, stick it on your wall, remind yourself on a daily basis why you are doing this. So whether your day is good, bad, or ugly, if you're having a great day, this is my why, I'm fulfilling it. If you're having a bad day, this is my why. This is why I have to keep trucking through and I'm going to be successful for it. If you're talking to someone who's not very nice to you, like unfortunately Chris did today, this is his why. His passion is to help people, and you're going to run into grumpy people sometimes. That's okay. It's life.
It's a good thing that you're never grumpy.
I'm never grumpy.
Oh, the next 45 minutes of this podcast will be me laughing hysterically at that last comment.
So nice.
I'm kidding. But no, I think you're 100% right, Cass. I think we nailed on this whole deal. So what I want you to do is if you get a chance, you have questions, email me. Mike at Motiv8 Advisors is probably fine. You can do Mike at the Terror Group too. I don't care. But Mike at Motiv8 Advisors, Motiv, the number 8 Advisors, ORS at the end, or Cassie at Motiv8 Advisors. We'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you. No strings attached. Yeah. Just have a conversation, kind of see what type of things are going on. But these are all different. This is a good starting place to figure out these are all about these good conversations and kind of where to go and what you want to do. It's also a great time of year to do that.
Right.
And so you can start making that plan happen. So yeah. I think it's important that we have that conversation. How do people get a hold of you, Cassie? What's the phone number?
877-766-8488. If you want to keep it easy, 772-247-4488. And we are Motiv8 Advisors. This is Elevate You.
Motivate you.
Motivate you.
We can elevate you too.
We are here to elevate you. It's Friday.
Take
I always
your business
struggle.
To the next level.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for hopping on. It's always a pleasure chit-chatting here with Mike and having you guys join us. And we look forward to next week's. Yeah.
Yes. Tell your friends and family. Tell them to jump on the call. We love seeing people jump on to our podcast. Love to hear some feedback if you have anything.
Yeah.
Be good, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.